Hi folks, just want to talk to you very quickly about what I read and why I like reading and some of the things I like reading, and I just want to big this guy up a little bit. It's called Dylan Thomas, Welsh writer, most notable for his poetry, but he wrote some prose as well. But he's perhaps most famous for his play, Under Milk Wood. It's a brilliant piece of writing. On the face of it, not a very interesting play. Describes the life, one day in the life of a Welsh fishing village, and that's it pretty much. But within that, it has everything. It has love, it has hate, it has religion, it has God, it has memories, it has regret, it has beauty, nature. It's all there, and that's why it's such a good listen and a good read, because it makes the ordinary extraordinary, and I guess that's what the best writers do. So if you want a recommendation for doing some reading or listen to it, find a recording and listen to it, because it's beautiful, beautiful poetry, and you never know, it might change your life. It did mine. Okay, Dylan Thomas, Under Milk Wood, check it out.
Hi everybody. So we've been asked to talk to you about our favourite books, and as you can see behind me, we've got one of our many bookshelves in our house, because being an English teacher I love books, but my family love books as well, so this is just one of many of the bookshelves in our house. At the minute I'm reading this by Stephen King. It's called The Stand. A little bit scary, but it's also very familiar to what we're living through right now, because it's about a virus that descends on the planet and changes everybody's lives quite significantly. So it means quite a bit at the minute, that one. But my favourite book of all time, and if you've been looking at signs around school, you'll already know this, but it's Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. And this is a bit of a poor copy of the book. I used to have a beautiful hardback copy of this book that I actually bought with my own money when I was about 11 years old from a bookshop in Eam while I was out walking with my grandparents. But that one seems to have vanished, so I've replaced it with this little paperback version. But I must have read this book probably 10 times, and I'll keep on reading it every single year because it is my favourite. It's such a great story, and you might have watched the film, and the film's brilliant, but the book is so much better. So if you ever get a chance, do give it a read. And that's my little guide to my favourite books at the minute. Take care. Bye.
So why do I love reading? Well, to start with, I find it a great way to relax. So some of you may know I am an incredibly erratic person, but this just helps me slow down and find that peace and relaxation. I also love the escapism it gives you, and it takes you on this journey, but it also teaches us new things all the time. Now, my favourite book growing up was Alice in Wonderland, and it still stands as a firm favourite now, really, but especially because of the escapism it entails by placing us in this new magical world.
Reading gives me real pleasure, something I do in great measure. Day or night, always a book in sight, helping me to chill and often relax, and also find out lots of facts. So if, like me, you want to learn more, grab a book, you know the score. With our MyOn digital library to use, you really have nothing to lose.
Hi! So we've been asked to talk to you about our favourite books, and I won't be able to do that because that's like me being asked which one of my kids is my favourite. I can't choose. Ends now. I will say it could be something Victorian by the likes of Robert Louis Stevenson or Oscar Wilde. I wrote my dissertation on Oscar Wilde. I was introduced to Oscar Wilde by my uncle, and my uncle also introduced me at a very, very young age to Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, and that remains one of my favourite books, I think, till today, and also the one that influenced me perhaps the most, just because it was the one, I would say, that got me interested in words, language, literature, just generally. And I would say I'm probably an English teacher because of that book, and because of the influence of my uncle, actually, because I like to pass on that enthusiasm to you. But there's lots of books I could talk about. I won't be able to narrow it down really, any less than that. But just to say, I hope that you all find that magical book, the one that sparks your imagination, the one that makes you think, wow. And there are lots and lots and lots of books out there that you can have that experience with. Happy reading. Miss you all. See you soon. Bye.
Hey, Miss Cooper here from the library. I found it really difficult to narrow down my favourite book, obviously being a librarian, but I've got to admit, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon is my absolute favourite book. It is amazing. It is written from the perspective of a 15-year-old boy with Asperger's syndrome, and it's written exactly as if it's from his point of view. It's exciting, it's about family life, the ups and downs, and it's got a bit of murder mystery in there, and it's just brilliant. It's actually quite funny as well. I'm just going to read a quick quote. This is about mental health really, and just feelings and communicating feelings. Sometimes we get sad about things, and we don't like to tell other people that we're sad about them. We like to keep it a secret, or sometimes we're sad, but we really don't know why we're sad. So we say we aren't sad, but we really are.
My book's quite a big book, and it's a non-fiction book, and it's called Atlas Obscura, and the name sort of gives it away. It's all about different weird and wonderful places that you can travel to and that you can visit. So it's split into all the different continents, all the different areas, and there are lots of strange places in each of them that you can go to, and it tells you about them. There's pictures, gives you some ideas of when and where you should visit, and it's really been interesting, and it's been helping me to think about some of the places that I might like to go when we're allowed to travel again.
So my favourite books, which have kind of been my favourite books from my childhood and actually got me into reading, are The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I don't mind admitting to you all that I still read these every single summer. That's how important these books are to me.
Hi guys, so I'm going to tell you about my favourite books today, or some of my favourite books because there are too many to mention. And I don't actually have them all to hand today because I always lend them to other people because I think it's great to recommend and share your favourite books. But starting out, I'm a big fan of a man called Oscar Wilde, who was most famous probably for the plays that he wrote. He did write a novel, but it was his plays that were more famous. So here I've got my collection of Oscar Wilde plays, and my favourite is The Importance of Being Earnest because I just find it really funny. So I often read that, try and read that probably once a year. I also like my Gothic writers and my Victorian fiction. So a mention to Bram Stoker and Dracula, which I really, really love. And again, I read time and time again. Emma Healy fairly recently, wrote a book called Elizabeth is Missing, which I read in the first lockdown and really enjoyed, but I've actually lent that to my sister, whose name's Elizabeth, and I really enjoyed that. And one that I would recommend for you guys to read that I really enjoyed is one called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
Hello everybody. So I've been asked to pop on here to speak to you a little bit about what we're currently reading, or books we particularly enjoy, in the lead up to World Book Day. As a busy mum of two little boys, what I find myself reading a lot of is children's books, more often than not. So things like Alan Alberg and the Happy Family series. So we've got Mr. Jockey, Mr. Creek the Cook, Julia Donaldson, like the Magic Paintbrush, Snail on the Whale, the Giant Jam Sandwich. So some quite bizarre titles there for a woman of 34, but nevertheless that's what we end up doing. And another thing we like to do as a hobby aside from reading them is to create our own stories. So I've now self-published, there's 4 in total, 4 books, and they're often ideas generated from discussions with me and my little boy, and we come up with characters and names and storylines and things like that, and what the pictures could be, and then I go on to illustrate them and get them eventually online. So I suppose my message to you is that it's not always about reading the books, it can be about you putting some of your own ideas out there as well. and sitting down and writing something. We don't have to be the most accurate writer, the most fabulous writer, but just sit down for a minute and write something. Write what you know, write the bizarre things that are in your head, and take pleasure from that as well. And I know some of you do take pleasure from that already, because some of you do send us English teachers things through on your emails, and they are always a delight to find in your inbox. So when it comes to World Book Day, reading and writing and a general love of stories is what I would like you to take from this.
Hi everyone, I'm just going to talk to you about the book that I've put that's my favourite book at the minute. It's by Richard Osman and it's called The Thursday Murder Club. You might have heard of Richard Osman before if you've ever seen the TV show Pointless or House of Games. I really like watching them nearly every night after school. They're my favourite shows, quiz shows. But it's a really, really good book. It's about these people in a retirement village. So the people in it are old, but it's not a book for old people. Anyone could read it because it's quite funny. And the people in the retirement village, they meet every single week to discuss different murders that haven't been solved, because one of the people in the village, in the group, used to be an ex-policeman, and then several murders happen surrounding the retirement village and people that they know get murdered, so they have to try and solve the crimes and work out who's done it. But it's really funny. I think it's appropriate for all ages. I think you'd like it, and it's quite complex as well, so you really have to think about what's happening, because there's a few different stories within this book. So there's like 2 or 3 different stories within this one book story, but it's really good, yeah, so I recommend it.